Great expectations, that's what we're about. For each and every child entrusted to our care, and all along the way, and from cradle to career. Thank you for being part of this very important day for our community. Have you ever noticed that every once in a while, the heart and vision and chutzpah of Minnesotans come together around what really matters for families and kids? And that it usually starts at the local level, when ordinary people begin to pay attention to what's happening to the families and kids around them, and band together to become more tuned in and engaged and invested in making sure that what's happening is good. This is definitely one of those times. In case you missed Dane Smith's great article in the August 1st Star Tribune describing emergency Minnesota educational initiatives that are focused on closing educational opportunity and achievement gaps, we have copies of it available for you here, or you can find it online. Dane Smith is a journalist and president of Growth and Justice, a research and advocacy organization that develops innovative public policy proposals based on research and civic engagement. Incidentally, he's here. Can you wave, Dane? Welcome. Access to equal educational opportunity for each and every child all along the way, from cradle to career, has been the promise of America's educational system for over a century, and certainly the long-held dream of each and every parent for their kids. America is the land of opportunity, right? There was this big, hairy, audacious idea we have that all of our kids, regardless of their origin or class, would be privy to a fair start in life, and that hard work and the opportunity for a good education would ensure their success. And that as communities all over America, we would be sending our kids, well-loved and carefully taught, into an ever-changing world. Over the past several decades, however, for too many kids and too many parents of our country, of Minnesota, of our local community, that promise has become the dream deferred. Political scientists like Robert Putnam, whose book, Our Kids, the American Dream in Crisis, which, by the way, we want everybody to read, and tell your friends and tell your family, and we have some copies here today that have been donated that first people up can have to do just that. Anyhow, Putnam shares all of the reasons why we find ourselves where we are. Changing family structure, disappearing jobs, the pace and impact of technology, and an ever-changing job market, a failed housing market, large-scale demographic change, cross-cultural differences, language barriers, the growing number of families in poverty, and in fact, a disappearing middle class. Affluent suburban communities and top-performing school districts like Wayzata and Osseo are reporting significant results for kids, and also significant and unacceptable opportunity and achievement gaps of growing numbers of our kids. Suburban poverty is no stranger to us. Our kids, particularly our kids of color and from low-income families, are struggling. We've become intimately familiar with those data and those reasons and those gaps. And I want to say that noticeably absent from the data is any evidence that kids aren't as smart as they used to be, or that parents don't care. On the contrary, the evidence definitely points elsewhere. The good news is that locally, as schools and community, we've been working together to change that trajectory, trying things that work and don't work, learning from both, celebrating and repeating successes, researching and piloting educational models and tools and approaches that have been successful elsewhere, adapting what fits, listening deeply to the struggle and educational aspirations of parents of school-age kids, gathering and analyzing data and providing in-school and out-of-school supports for families and kids, looking always for ways to move our efforts from good to great. For example, over the past 7 years, the Caring for Kids initiative, which provides access to quality early childhood care and education, as well as parent education and wraparound family support services, set 800 plus preschoolers of our community on the path to success in school. And the exciting data following these kids indicates that they've not only been ready for kindergarten, but continue to reach critical learning benchmarks on time. And Caring for Kids has been selected for a longitudinal study of its impact by the University of Minnesota. Wayzata School's volunteer literacy program over the last 10 years has put 1,164 trained community volunteers in service to 1,108 fragile readers of Wayzata's elementary schools, helping them to hone those critical reading skills before moving on to middle school. And CONNECT, an acronym for Community Organizations Networking Compassionately Together, is a collaborative community outreach to families and kids of 8, soon to be 9, multi-unit apartment neighborhoods. CONNECT provides on-site services focused on family and housing stability, school success, links with multiple community resources, and supports for building strong neighborhoods. Last year, CONNECT's Homework Club engaged 97 community volunteers to help 195 kids get their homework done on time and gain and retain key learning skills. This summer, 130 first through 9th graders are enrolled in Camp Connect, a free 8-week summer camp for kids living in Connect neighborhoods, as well as kids referred by Wayzata school social workers. In addition to the social and recreational activities offered at Camp Connect, there is an educational focus on activities designed to help kids gain and retain skills that mitigate a summer slide. And later this afternoon, you're going to meet some of these beautiful Camp Connect kids who are so eager to show you what they're learning this summer. So, great expectations, each and every child all along the way, cradle to career. Over the past 4 years, Wayzata and Orono School District leaders, Interfaith, and a small band of community leaders have been working together to create and launch a new Cradle to Career school and community educational initiative called Great Expectations, which is designed to ensure that all of our kids will have the strong start they need to succeed and timely and powerful in-school and out-of-school supports that promise to unleash their potential. Strikingly similar to the school and community partnerships described in Smith's article, from St. Paul, Minneapolis, Austin, Grand Rapids, Red Wing, Northfield, Great Expectations is our adaptation of a collective impact model and those that have been successful elsewhere in closing opportunity and achievement gaps. So what is collective impact? Collective impact models bring key community players together from school and business and social service and childcare centers, colleges, parents, teachers, public safety, social and recreational leaders, healthcare leaders, faith communities together to develop a roadmap for desired outcomes. They start with a common agenda, definition of the problem. In our case, our kids who, without timely access to early childhood care and education, will start out behind, or who are not currently meeting critical grade level benchmarks, or who are not on track to graduate or not privy to opportunity for continuing education. Collective impact models set goals and a means to track progress toward those goals, establish coordinated collective efforts to maximize results, and a team dedicated to orchestrating its work. This approach combines strong commitment, actually, from the whole village, a high regard for data, accountability, and rigor, and with a bias for action. So let's act. The goals of Great Expectation are simple. Achieving them is complex. Every child is prepared for school. Every child is nurtured at home, in school, and in the community. Every student succeeds academically and attains critical life skills. Every student has the opportunity to pursue continuing education and the opportunity to pursue a future of choice. Its benchmarks are, our kids will be ready for kindergarten. They'll all reach key third grade reading benchmarks and 8th grade math benchmarks. They'll graduate from high school and complete post-secondary education. I can't begin to tell you what a joy and privilege it's been to work with the leadership of the Wayzata and Orono school districts, who really mean it when they say each and every child all along the way, and who know intimately and well that school success is not just about academic rigor. It's also about that whole ecosystem that surrounds families and kids in school and out of school. These leaders are eager to work with our community to ensure that that rigor and supportive ecosystem are working together optimally for our kids in all the ways that position them for success in school and in life. This obviously is not a short-term one-and-done venture. Creating this level of sustainable in-school and out-of-school investment in all of our kids will take the heart and creativity and time and energy and resources and persistence and resolve of all of us. What gives us confidence is that together this community has demonstrated over and over again its heart and will to do the hard things, the smart things, and to stay with what matters for our families and kids, all of those who have been entrusted to our care. We've got a lot of really good work to build upon. We've got great energy. Look at this room. We're ready to move it to great. There is a role for each and every one of us all along the way. These are our kids. This is our time. This is our opportunity to help them recover the dream.
And they had 5 outcomes, and you've heard them today. LaDonna had these similar ones in her speech. All children ready for school. Kids who can read by 3rd grade at grade level. All racial and economic achievement gaps are closed. All students are ready for college. All students graduate from high school. Every school in the state of Minnesota is held accountable to these measures. Our school board also has outcomes for us, high expectations for us in the schools. High achievement by each and every student. No exceptions, no excuses. They hold us to that. They want the learning experience. The legislature said this, but they want more. They want that experience to be content-rich, rigorous, and personalized. And we're not all just about grades, even though it may seem like that. We're also about the experience and the relationship. We want our families and our students, our staff, to have meaningful relationships with teachers, staff, mentors, and peers in a welcoming, nurturing, and safe environment where all are valued for who they are and the contributions that they make. This is our charge. Part of the legislation was that all school districts have to have a long-term strategic plan in place. Wayzata has a history of strategic planning. It's not new to us. We have just recently started working on a new strategic roadmap. This I don't think you can read in the back, but it is available on our website. But there's really 4 parts to it. Our mission, Our core values, our vision to be a model of excellence. Our key work is in here, our strategic directions. Achievement by the end of third grade, which you've heard. We're a little bit higher than just reading because we want our third graders set in reading, writing, math, and speaking. We think they're all important. Each and every, eliminate our achievement gaps. Personalization. I think this is unique to Wayzata. All students will know and understand their unique talents, have a voice in their education. Take ownership for their learning, their career aspirations, and their future successes. You change from the inside out. You change from the inside out. If you want people to change, help them help themselves, and they will do the rest. Help them help themselves. They will do the rest. And so we've taken this and we've named it. We're owning this and we've named it. We care passionately about it. And we've called it My Way. And My Way is a play on personalization in Wayzata. My Wayzata. My Way. This experience, my way. Personalizing the learning experience. Back in the day, school used to be where you went to learn. Now, school is only part of the learning experience. Kids can learn with anyone, any place, at any time. That didn't used to be true. It is true now. And so we are really looking at deeply restructuring our learning experience based on what we now know and believe to be true about today and about the future. And we've got maybe 4 major themes that are emerging. They kind of change depending upon what we're talking about and what new information we have. But one of the things that we are committed to focusing on is looking at student strengths. Everyone brings something with them when they come to school. They are not blank slates. And so often we focus on what kids can't do. Like, you just didn't act right. Well, like we should have gone to acting school sooner, or we need better script writers or something. Everyone has a strength. Our job is to find out what is that strength and use that to help move kids from where they are to where they need to be. We focus on strengths. Partnerships are huge in a My Way world. No longer is it okay to work in isolation. Back in the day it was. That was our culture, that was our world. It no longer is. No one person can do it alone. So we need to form partnerships. Many LaDonna referred to. But there's partnerships between kids in their classroom, in their neighborhood. But there are partnerships that exist right now in our schools around the world. Right now, our kids are engaged with other learners from around the world. How cool is that? A third practice is to use technology. Use technology. It's not the core of our learning program. It's a tool, a very important tool, because we use it to connect, to create, to innovate, to share knowledge, questions, experiences with learners locally and around the world. Do you remember what it was like when you had math at 8 o'clock in the morning? Unfortunately, probably, huh? And then you'd go through your whole day, and then you probably had sports practice or something after school, and now it's 8 o'clock and you're getting home, and you're trying to figure out, what did the teacher say? I don't remember. So what did you do? You were lucky if you had parents who could help you. But what if you didn't? What if you had parents who love you and care about you, but they can't help you? Who pays the cost for that the next day at school? That child. Raise your hand if you have a question. On the face of the earth, has anyone ever done that? Never. It's like never. You ask a question like that, it was like, good, no one did. I didn't want anyone to answer, But now, because of technology, kids don't have to sit home and not get their work done. There is a whole world of learners out there that kids can connect to. They can become their own best teacher. We have to use technology in that way. There's a whole new way in which kids can experience learning because of the availability of resources. We want those experiences to be authentic, meaningful, and personalized. Authentic. Our kids can solve real world problems. They can do it. They're smart enough. And now we have the resources to do it. You know, in Minnesota, the Canadians, as far as I know, are not pouring over the border. So immigration is not such a big deal to us. But if you live in Texas or Arizona, you feel differently. Well, how do you get kids in Minnesota to care about that? You get them connected with kids in El Paso. We're connected with an English immersion school in El Paso, Texas. Think of that. Those kids are native Spanish, they're learning English. We're connected with them in one of our classrooms. And our kids are learning what is the real experience like for you. Remember in the day, you know, maybe what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but what happens in Greece apparently affects us. You know, who knew? Who knew? But it does, because that is our world. And so kids can connect to that world, solve real world problems, do things that are meaningful to them, and we can personalize it to their interests. We can do that now. We couldn't do that before, but because of technology, we can. And so these are interesting times. Robert Kennedy said this a long, long, long time ago. All of us might wish at times that we lived in a more tranquil world, but we don't. We don't. And if our times are difficult and perplexing, so are they filled with opportunity. And that's what we have before us today, is an enormous opportunity. Throughout history, people have been faced with great challenges. I'm sure when those people were on the little Mayflower going across the ocean, I'm sure they thought it was seemed like a good idea at the time. You know, but aren't we thankful? Aren't we thankful that they had the courage and the vision to see it through? Because they started a great nation. I'm sure when those young soldiers were in those landing crafts approaching Normandy Beach, they were quite sure that this would not turn out well for them. But aren't we thankful that they did see that through? Because they put an end to tyranny and gave us a more peaceful world. And when people refused to ride buses, when they sat at lunch counters, when they marched across bridges for their own human rights, I don't think they thought what this would mean for the future. But their courage gave us a more just world. And so often we don't live to see the results of our hard work. We move on, we pass on. But there's others who benefit from it. And I can't help but think at some point, someday, someone will say, they'll think of you, and they will say, I'm thankful that they did, because it's made a difference in my world. And that's what we have an opportunity to do. There is not a fence high enough, there is not a community far enough away that will protect any of us from the ills of society. We may think it, but it's not true. There is not a life that we can waste. There is not an opportunity that we can miss. And we can do it because we all have an opportunity to contribute. You can give of your time, of your financial resources, of your expertise. However you can make a contribution, do it. Because the future is depending on it. We have real problems in our world, but we have real opportunity. Our times are no more difficult than they were 5 and 50 and 100 years ago. They are no more difficult. The question is whether we have the courage and the wisdom and the vision to do what those people did on boats, on Normandy, and walking across bridges. Do we have that in us? I think we do, because this is what we do, and we have a history of it, coming together and solving problems. So I thank you for being here. I look forward to working with you. And if you ever want to come and see what's going on in our schools, give me a call. I'd love to go show them off to you. Thank you so much. Thank you.